I'm going to talk to you about what I learned in my devotions this morning. Hold on just a minute. What, Annie?
I want to show you what my game was about.
Okay, come in here because mommy, go get it and bring it in here because go unplug it and bring it in here because mommy's doing a recap of my devotions. Okay, so basically, instead of just blogging about like the work of the flesh and the work of the devil and the bad things that are happening, I decided I'm gonna talk about my devotions and the things that I'm learning. And hopefully eventually what God is doing will be the dominant theme in my life and not what's been the dominant theme.
So, of what's about the game.
There's no way to pause this.
I want to show you.
Okay.
So, these are all the weapons.
Yeah.
The sword, the pistol, the medic kit, and these are gravity. This is a gravity coil and a speed coil. The gravity coil makes you jump high, and the red coil makes you go super fast. And these are all the guns.
Okay.
And then I just put this here. It's let me show you. See, so it's monsters fighting against these. I put that there for fun. And this is a castle for that team. And then there's a castle here for this team.
Wow.
And a way you can make the castle, you can make it. And then you can go up and see. And then if you push rotate, you can make it move.
Oh, that's awesome. It's elliptical. Yeah. It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
It's fun.
It's going to make you way smarter, I can tell. Is that what you're showing, Mommy? That's pretty cool.
And there's one team. There's one team on this side and one team on this side.
Oh, I see. That's awesome.
You can see they're two different. They're different because they're two different teams.
I see.
So that's about my game.
Wow. Cool beans. Did you make that one or did somebody else make it?
Me.
You made it? Christian, you did a good job. What? You did a good job, didn't you? I didn't know that was yours. Wow, you're good at that, aren't you? I'm proud of you. Okay, so today in my devotions, I was in the book of Luke. I started Luke chapter 15, verse.
And in my Bible, I was in the book where they killed Jezebel.
They killed Jezebel in your devotions?
Girl,
yeah.
And for her sin.
She was very evil. Yeah, she was.
After the Israelites already became good.
Yeah, that's right. Go brush your mouth. Go brush your teeth. The older brother was angered and he wouldn't go in. And that's like verse 28. And this is about the prodigal son. The prodigal son. Basically, it's whenever he came back, and the older brother was mad because he was like, all these years I've slaved for you and never once refused to do a single thing you told me to do. And in all my time, you never even gave me a young goat for a feast with my friends. And then it's just like, yeah, when the son of yours comes back after squandering all your money on prostitutes, happy Matthew, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf. And then the dad was like, look, dear son, you have always stayed by me and everything I have is yours. So we have to celebrate this happy day. For your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost and now he is found. And basically, the part like that I was writing about was like I tied it into my book, and it's hindsight 2020 because it's the bad decisions that we perpetually make in the heat of the moment. Like the brother was angry and he wouldn't go in, so he was making a bad decision, to not go in because he was right. He had a right to be angry. I mean, his brother spent his whole inheritance on prostitutes, and I mean, you totally see why he was mad, but you also, I mean, just like in the moment, and then as things play out, you know what I mean? Obviously, I mean, it's like whenever I was in what's it called? That mountain home in the domestic violence shelter when I had Mark Jr. when he was 4 to 5 months old, and I remember there was a lady there a lot, and she used to say, "What doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse." And I feel like, uh, I mean, I feel like that's really what my book is about.
Changed to my game.
You-
There's 2 castles, and the teams join to each other, and they fight all the zombies.
Yeah.
The teams fight each other.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting, and instead of them fighting each other, they fight all the zombies.
Oh.
There's a cop zombie, there's a fire zombie, and there's a tank zombie, which is a really big zombie.
Oh.
And then there's normal zombies.
That's very cool. Did you think of all that? Good job. You did an awesome job. Anyway, and then I read about the parable of the shrewd manager. And I don't know if I ever really paid that much attention. It was about that. This is chapter 16, verse 1. Jesus told his disciples the story about there was a rich man who had a manager handling his affairs. And one day a report came that the manager was wasting his employer's money. So the employer called him in and said, "What's this I hear about you? Get your report in order because you are going to be fired." So the manager was like, "What am I going to do? The boss has fired me and I don't have the strength to dig ditches and I am too proud to beg." So the manager went and said, "I know how to ensure that I'll have plenty of friends who will give me a home when I am fired." And he says that went and invited all the people who owed his employer money, and he started slashing their debts. He didn't cancel them, he just made them less to make them happy so that he could find favor with them. So for example, the manager asked the first one, "How much do you owe him?" And the manager said 800 gallons of olive oil. So the manager said, "Take the bill and quickly change it to 400 gallons." And then another example, he said to another person, "How much do you owe my employer?" And the man said, "I owe him 1,000 bushels of wheat." And the manager said, "Take the bill and change it to 800 bushels. So in conclusion, the rich man had to admire the dishonest rascal for being so shrewd. And this is 16 verse 8. And it is true that children of this world are more shrewd in dealing with the world around them than the children of the light. And that was a key verse because and then it says, in 16 verse 9, Jesus sums up the moral of the parable. "Here's the lesson: use your worldly resources to benefit others and make friends. Then, when your possessions are gone, they will welcome you to an eternal home." And then 16 verse 10, "If you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones." And then another thing that I found is important is in chapter 16, verse 15. It says, when he says, "What this world honors is detestable in the sight of God." And then I read the story of Lazarus, the rich man and Lazarus, and it just talked to that story. When I read it again, as in this summer, it was kind of like blew my mind because you hear the story of Lazarus, paraphrased, for example, but I feel like when you paraphrase something, you miss a lot of it. And then it says in chapter 16, verse 22, it says, finally, the poor man died and was carried by the angels to sit beside Abraham at the heavenly banquet. And it says, the rich man also died and was buried, and he went to find the place of the dead. There in torment, he saw Abraham in the far distance with Lazarus at his side. And it's just like, it's just Lazarus talking to Abraham from hell. And it's just like, send Lazarus over here to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue. That's verse 16:24. Just like, I am in anguish in these flames. And it was just interesting that the rich man obviously thought he was so much better than Lazarus. And why in the world would Lazarus dip his finger in water and cool his tongue when he was in hell, when he did nothing for him on this earth? When the rich man did nothing for Lazarus, when he was laying at the gates of his house all those years, he did nothing. And it's just like, it just makes me think about, like, for example, like the starving children, people in need, when we turn our backs on people in need. I mean, day in, day out, year after year, decade after decade, until we face death, and we never did anything for these people. We never acknowledged that they needed help. And for example, you think of like people like, obviously, the starving children of Africa. That's a super, super cliche something, but it's like legit, because I've been reading in different parts of the Old Testament, and it talks about, well, the first time. Okay, you're gonna have to wait till I'm done with this video. I'm not gonna be much longer. Okay, so basically, I was reading like this. The first story I read up to this effect was the one I don't have a reference for it because I wasn't planning to tie it in today, but I was just like about the lady who the two moms, and the mom with the one mom was like, today we're gonna boil your son and eat him, and then tomorrow we're gonna boil my son and eat him. So they boiled the one lady's son, and then the one lady came to the other lady the next day, and she hid her live son. And it was just like, it was awful. And I was sitting there, I'm like, why are they eating their children? And it's just like, they were that starved. Because there's other places in the Bible where it talks about mothers boiling their children, like a tender-hearted mother boiled her children and ate them. And it's just like, wow, they must have been so impoverished, like the countries where this was happening. And it's just like, with the instability and like in the future, you can kind of see, like, they say, like, for example, the United States only has like a 3-day supply of food at any given time without imports. And it's just like, ooh, you wonder if we're going to see a lot of these things in modern day. And you have to think about it. You have to think about how many hundreds of years we did nothing for other people in perilous situations, and I'm as guilty as the next, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just, how many times did we turn our backs on other countries who are, having, like, in recent history, Haiti and Afghanistan, and it's just like, just long-term Africa, they've been so poor, just like obesity is like a plague over here. Nobody really talks about it. I don't feel like anybody's really talking about it, but it's a plague. And, just like, I feel like a lot of times people would share their desire is to help other people, but it's like tangibly making it happen. It's like this great divide. It's like almost like this huge mountain range that you have to get over to, just because obviously it's spiritual warfare, for like centuries, just like, you're in your heart, you want to help people, but the logistics of it, it's like the great divide, because, but yeah, and then the day that you boil your children, the day you get your punishment, you probably would give anything to go back and do it right. You would find a way to do it right when you get your punishment. But okay, and then the next chapter, I read chapter 17, and that the next time it was chapter 18, the parable of the persistent widow. There's 18 chapter chapter 18, verse 2. And there was a judge in a certain city. He's who neither feared God nor cared about people. And it's just like but the widow came to him repeatedly, give me justice in this dispute with my enemies. And it was just like the judge ignored her, but then he finally said to himself, I don't fear God or care about people, but this woman is driving me crazy. I'm going to see that she gets justice because she is wearing me out with her constant requests. And it was just like, and then the Lord's in chapter 18, verse 6, he said, the Lord said, learn a lesson from this unjust judge. Even he rendered a just decision in the end. And just like, so don't you know God will surely give his chosen people who cry out to him day and night, who give justice to his people, to his chosen people. And then it says, will he keep putting them off? And then 18 verse 8, I tell you, he will grant justice to them quickly. And then the next one, I just love this, the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector. And it's just like, okay, but I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a video and I can't pause it. So I'll be there in a minute. Then we're going to have to go to church soon. In fact, will you go take a shower? Because we have churches. Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay, I need you to, I am doing a video. Please go get in the shower. Okay, but then get out of the closet. Leave me. Okay, you know what? I don't like editing my videos. Goodness gracious, takes a life. Okay, the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector. And it's just like verse 9. Then Jesus told this story to some who had great confidence in their own righteousness and scorned everyone else. And I felt like this verse is like me a lot of times, because I have great confidence in my own righteousness and I scorn everyone else. And it just talked about they went to the temple. There was a Pharisee, and then there was a despised tax collector. And the Pharisee was like, I thank you, God, that I'm not like other people, these cheaters, sinners, and adulterers. I'm certainly not like that tax collector. I fast twice a week and I give you 10th of my income. And then verse 14 is, I tell you, the sinner, not the Pharisee, returned home justified before God. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. So that kind of hit home for me. And then okay. And then just like Jesus blesses the children, verse 18, 17. For I tell you the truth, anyone who doesn't receive the kingdom of God like a child will never receive it. And it's just like, I don't know. Let me think. I think that might have been my main things. Oh, and then last but not least, and verse 19, which is the story of Zacchaeus. And it was just like, Jesus went to Zacchaeus' house and he says, I must be a guest in your home today. Zacchaeus was excited, and it was just like, and then all the people were like displeased, and they were like, but he has gone to be the guest of a notorious sinner, and they were grumbling. And then anyway, and it just showed how Zacchaeus' household got blessed that day, and they got grafted in into like the lineage. But regardless, I just want to talk really quick because God knows I make videos all day, every day. And it's just like, usually Christian doesn't really say that much to me. And now that I'm talking about like Christian stuff, like God stuff, Christian's going to come and ask for my attention in the middle of a video. And if you will scroll through my videos, I've like been vlogging for like a year and a half. Again, I started a long time ago. I started vlogging back in like 2008 or 9. And I just wanted to, anyway, I just wanted to comment like, it's just spiritual warfare. It's like, all of a sudden he needs something after like a year and a half. Very few times did he try to talk to me when I was vlogging, and then I'm talking about religious stuff, and now he has an emergency and needs my help with the game. And I'm just saying it's a test. And I'm not saying that, oh, let me stop my message and go help you with this game. Anyway, regardless, I just wanted to comment on C'est la vie. But I'm going to get off here and have a good day.